guys, and welcome to another episode of the Alpha Male Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Heather Krause.
And I'm the other host, Gregg Krause. Thanks for joining us again, where we think we have another topic of importance. We get asked this quite a bit, whether you need a trainer or not.
Yes, it's probably like the third step in, we talked about last week about how to pick a gym. And the one before that was, whether you want to work out at home or the gym. And the next thing kind of in order of that is, do you need a trainer? And how to pick one if you decide that you do want one. Because I think that can be a little tricky.
And if you're familiar with working out, by all means, go for it on your own. If you feel like you're lost, that may be a good time to take a step back and think about maybe getting a trainer.
And also, if you decide to hire a trainer, you don't have to do it long term. Like even if you were a seasoned veteran at the gym, but you just haven't been there for a while and you think you know what you're doing, but you're not 100% sure, you can even just, get a couple sessions just to kind of get the rust off and kind of go from there. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
No, and I mean, full disclosure, when I was competing on the national level and as a Masters Pro, I had hired a trainer. One was Jeff Jones that worked with me for many years, and another one, Brian Oidick.
Mm-hmm.
That I use both of them. Now I know people say, but Greg, you know all this. Why? Because when you're looking at yourself in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
you get overcritical and you'll overtrain, you'll overdiet and all that. So I was smart enough to realize I need to take a step back and let somebody else make the assessments of what I needed or didn't need or whatever. And luckily it all paid off.
Because I think sometimes too, like you can even, you can hire a trainer at the beginning, like when you're just starting out, but also like even in the middle of your fitness journey, because I think sometimes like with you need someone to like, that's not yourself, and, point out different things. And also some people tend to get into like a rut and they might do some like just like the same workout that they keep, like, I don't want to say it's easy to them, but they're the most comfortable with, when really there might be some better things to change it up.
Or overtrain or overdiet or whatever.
There's all kinds of different, reasons out there on why a trainer can be beneficial and for all different times of your fitness journey. So it's not, I guess, don't feel like you can't get a trainer just because you just have worked out for so long. Like that would be dumb, because you can always learn. There's so much information in fitness and there's so many different techniques, different things. I mean, again, I've been working out since I was 15 and I still, followed different things on Instagram. I researched a lot on how to build up my glutes, and that was like my thing. And I still watch different videos because they're still coming out with different innovative ways to do that, or someone's doing a different exercise a different way. And I just think it's so beneficial to keep it like your workout routine, like on the fresh side, as opposed to getting stale.
Right, and just full disclosure, Heather and I both do train people, both in person and online.
Yes.
And that isn't for an advertisement, it's just to tell you as we're talking, we're explaining it to you from both sides of the fence.
Yes.
So that you understand. Now, when do you think you need a trainer? Some things to consider, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The time commitment that you can make. How serious are you? Because once again, like Heather and I both tell people, we're more than happy to work with you, but you're representing us.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about competing, I'm just talking if you just want to get in shape. But if you don't make the commitment and follow the guidelines we set up and we work with you, nothing's going to work for you because you have to make the effort.
Well, I just want to point out one thing too. Make sure you're honest with your trainer. And because nothing's worse than if someone comes in and they lie and they're like, oh, I want to, really lose this amount, or I really want to get ripped and I really want to get serious. And really, they just want to come in on the weekend and kind of be social, work with you and all that, which is fine. But from a trainer's perspective, we can, like any trainer can provide you a way better program fit to more what you guys want, as opposed to you trying to put up some certain front. And then it's frustrating for us because we're like, you said you wanted to work out 4 days a week. You're canceling, 2 days a week consistently. And it doesn't look like you're following this diet. And like we've said in previous podcasts, like the best diet for somebody is one that they're going to follow. So if you say, you want to be super strict and you're all ready and do this, when really you don't, you just want, to kind of get in shape, definitely let the trainer know, because you're going to benefit the most by doing that.
Yeah, and once again, know what you want.
Yes.
I mean, talk to the trainer and everything, what your goals are. But also, before you even go up and do all that with the trainer, what I would do is I would talk to some of the people in the gym who they feel is a very good trainer there, who does a good job with people, because there are some great trainers out there.
Yes.
But there's also some, and I'll leave this person nameless, but the one day I watched them, they had a new client, and they had this poor woman trying to bench press 150 pounds right off the get-go,
That's
and he
crazy.
was lifting it up for the client. And I looked over, and I was going to say something, but I thought, no, I'm not going to. To me, that is not a very good trainer.
No, I want to know who that is after the podcast.
Well, but once again, this is why ask around a little
Yes.
bit and watch, because what gets me too is when I see trainers get their cell phone out and they're texting while their client's doing an exercise, or somebody comes up to talk to them and they pick up a conversation and they're not even watching their client perform the exercise.
Absolutely. And guys, a trainer should not just be telling you what exercise to do. They should be making sure you're doing it correctly. So like they should be watching you, and they should be making sure you're engaging the correct muscles, because just because you're doing a movement, like for instance, like a lat pull down is a prime example of this. So many people do it incorrectly, even though the motions are like they're, reaching over their heads, they're pulling the weight down, and the weight, they're moving it, does not mean you're supposed to be engaging your lats, not your arms, whatnot. So you want to make sure you're you're getting your money's worth, and that trainer's watching you, making sure everything's correct, and even knowing when to put more weight on, because that's another thing.
Right. And don't get hung up on the weight. I mean, if you're a power lifter, yeah, I mean, that's our goal. But if you're trying to get in shape or even get ready for reunion, whatever it is, the form is the most important thing right off the get-go. And then once you master the form, the weights will start moving up.
Yes. But with that, if you hire a trainer and they're not watching you and, not even paying attention to what, let's just say they put it on, 15 pounds, whatever, and you're doing it, and like lat pull downs again, although 15 pounds on a lat pull down is kind of low, but regardless, if they're talking or they're on their phone, they aren't even going to know whether you're struggling with that weight, and, maybe they should back it off a little bit to make sure you're engaging that muscle. Because a lot of the times too, just a little FYI, when you have too much weight on the machine or, on the bar, usually what happens is your form suffers and you start to recruit other muscles that you're not even supposed to be using. So that's what I mean. Like whether you want to take weight off, that person should be knowing that. Or if you are completing 15 reps, it's like a breeze, and they're not upping your weight, and your form's good and all that, and just because they don't want to pay attention and make sure that, and say it's, hey, it's time to advance a little bit now. Even putting a 2.5 or, on there, that, so you constantly progress, that is what you want in a trainer.
And I know one of the things I've always emphasized with our clients is the most important thing when you come in is beat the person in the mirror. If you can make yourself a little bit better, there's only one Arnold Schwarzenegger and one Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah.
But be the best you could be. And if a trainer can help you reach that,
Yeah.
and you've looked at him or her to make sure they have the qualifications what you're looking for.
Yeah, and like they should be motivating you too while you're working out. Like this should be an enjoyable experience. And that's just because, like, this is another, I'm going to kind of like segue into this too. Make sure you vibe well with the trainer. And it's not just the person that looks the best, because there's nothing worse than hiring an asshole. And if expect, like, don't get me wrong, some people like assholes as trainers. I kind of do. Like it helps, push me. But in certain stages, like if I'm trying to compete.
That's why you let me for some shows.
But like if you're not one of those people, just because somebody looks good doesn't mean like, and if they're not your vibe, don't hire them. Hire somebody else. So, because I think that that's really important, because this is going to be somebody, like, at least with us, like we end up being friends with a lot of our clients. And that's, I think as it should be.
And we try to teach them so they can eventually move on their own.
That's another thing. Make sure somebody, if you're like, it answers your questions that you have. Because, I mean, especially if you're just starting out, you're probably going to have a ton, and you should, like, that's what you're paying for. You're not paying somebody just to stand there and watch you do something or look in your direction as you do something. You want like that person's knowledge. You want to know, just if it were me hiring a trainer, I would want to be a sponge and try to get all this knowledge. So one, I don't have to pay for somebody for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Set a time up with how long you're planning on going to see if you reach the goal that you have set with your
That's
trainer.
a good point. Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just coming in every week 3 or 4 times, are you really getting something out of it, or are you just helping him out or her? Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, there's a lot of really good trainers out there. But make sure you're putting in the effort so that you can reach that goal that you guys talked about and set up for you to reach in a reasonable time frame.
Mm-hmm. And if let's just say it's not in your budget, like if you're gonna go 4 or 5 days a week lifting, and it's not in your budget to pay somebody to train you all 4 or 5 days a week, you can, like, a trainer should be open. It shouldn't be an all or nothing thing too. Like a trainer should be like, oh, okay, if that's cool, if that's not in your budget, do you want to maybe, like if legs are your weakest body part, work with them on leg day. Like that should be.
We do that with a lot of our clients.
That should be okay. And if a trainer's telling you no, it's either all or nothing. You either sign up for this large, program, but then I would kind of walk away from that. I think that that's kind of bullshit.
Right. Well, and with a lot of ours, we take them through the workouts for a week. Mm-hmm. We give them to them, and they're set up for the next 6 to 8 weeks to progress at that. And then we look up again, and then we make it a little bit more stringent and change some of the exercises so they get progressing and getting better.
Yeah, because too, like with the, I should say like the explosion of online trainers, people have been kind of doing like, you can get all kinds of people are offering different packages. So like how we'll put together, it's kind of like, even if some of these people that we train in person, we might give them a workout like an online trainer would, and then they kind of pick and choose what days of the week that they actually want us in person. So you can, you can find trainers that will put something like that together. I guess you would call that like a hybrid-ish kind of thing. as opposed to you just being completely on your own, for the days that you're not going to have them. So there's all different levels like of to get guidance from a trainer that you can get, and I feel like the sky's the limit. And again, I'll say if a trainer is just like, nope, these are my 3 programs and that's it, I would, continue to shop around.
And that's a very good point. We have some clients that are in their 70s and 80s. So when we take them through a workout, it's appropriate for their age, their physical ability, and we adjust it and work on things that are going to help them out. Now, we also have some young kids that are playing football or baseball. We have different exercises set up for them to meet their goals with their specific sport. And we also have competitive males and females in the bodybuilding industry, and we have different programs for them. So we adjust it to the client, what their needs are. And that's important when you're looking for somebody. What do you need?
Yes.
Not what do they have, but what do you need that they can provide?
Absolutely. And if you're seeing somebody, take different people through the same, like you're seeing like the one, like a trainer have like one program, like one workout routine, I should say, that they're just putting kind of everybody through continuously, I would kind of, maybe not hire them because you should have something tailored to you. And because like you said, age group, how many days a week you're working out, all that is different and body splits are different. So,
and if you're injured or limited in something you're able to do, that just made me think of one of the people we worked with in the old days, a competitor. He was working with somebody else from the West Coast on training and diet, and he kept asking me what he could eat instead of fish. And I wasn't really working with him at the time, but I knew him. And finally I asked him one day, why do you keep asking? He goes, well, my trainer wants me to eat fish. And I'm like, well, then that's what you better eat, or you better talk to him to find out. Well, this particular gentleman hated fish. He couldn't eat fish. It made him sick. But that's something he should have talked to his trainer about.
Mm-hmm.
Not me, because I don't want to overstep my boundaries if somebody else is showing somebody something.
Well, yeah, and that's another point. Like, if you hire somebody, stick with them or like fire them and go to somewhere else. Like, don't kind of dabble in between a couple different trainers because you're going to it's going to be a waste of money because from a trainer standpoint, everybody has a different way that they do things. So like if you have something, like let's just say in your 8-week program, you like might slowly get somebody going and then like push it harder at the end. I might be the opposite. I might be heavy loading it at the beginning and then kind of, coasting it, for a couple weeks. So if somebody is, comes to, like is with you and they're like, feel like they're talking to somebody and they're like, but they're working with me and they're like, well, I'm doing all this. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm not doing that. And then they start talking to me, but they're still working with you. It's just the whole thing's going to just get messed up. And
that's a very good point. That's why I always tell people, why are you asking me this? And if they go, well, I'm like, you know what, go talk to them. And I'm not trying to be rude, but that's just courtesy to the other trainer. Because I don't know the whole thing they have laid out for you. But this is why you look at all this before you hire somebody. And you talk to people that are working with that trainer.
Yes. And I would also point out too, not only I would look at people that are currently working with the trainer, but also, and granted, this is more when you start to get in the more extremes with the bodybuilding world, but I would still look at, even if I wasn't, just general population, is what their past clients look like. Because two, what we've seen is with the explosion of online trainers, especially through Instagram and things like that, not everybody is qualified that acts like, because you can put together a nice little Instagram um, page and look like you're legit and not be legit. So if you start to see people who did work with them and after, and they don't look very good, whether they look like they're malnourished or they blew up, and granted, people should, like, that's some responsibility on the client as well. But if you're seeing repeatedly people, gaining a ton of weight after they're done working with them, or like their hair looks terrible, like, it started to fall out, it's real thin, I would stay far away from that, because anybody can starve somebody down and malnourish them and look like they're getting results for a little bit of time, but they're going to mess up their body. So
because they're losing muscle, not just body
yes.
fat.
So I've looked, there was a couple trainers, again, they'll remain nameless, but I know you know who they are, and that just destroyed a lot of people's metabolism. And it was very sad. But if you looked at all their clients that they had, a large percentage of them, after they left them, they just blew up because they just couldn't, or they blew up actually working with them, because you're starving never works. It eventually catches up to you.
Matter of fact, that just made me think of a gentleman. Oh, it's probably been 4 years now. When he came to me, he weighed 310 pounds. And he asked me if I'd help him. And I said, well, I will take you on as a client, but only if you agree to follow what I say. And I know for side lateral raises, I had him using 2.5-pound weights to get the form down, because he kept using his straps and not his medial head of his deltoid. And it took us about 4 weeks till he finally got the form down. And I know during that time he kept saying, come on, Gregg, I need to. And I'm like, no, you don't. Not till you mastered form. And that gentleman now is a competitive bodybuilder. He's down to 220. Mm-hmm. And we laugh about it to today, because he's got some very nice shoulders now. And he learned how to do the exercise properly. And that's what a trainer's supposed to do. Show you how to do it correctly.
Yes.
So that you can progressively grow from there.
And also, like, some trainers, they would not have wanted anybody else to see their client working out with 2.5-pound dumbbells for a long period of time. So they would have almost, to their benefit, they would have been like, oh, no, okay, we can progress. And you want somebody who's going to say, like, I don't really care what people are saying. You need to do this, because it is so important, especially with wanting to build your body. Because, like, to use that example, had you just let him go, like, and said, okay, whatever, just after a day, that's fine, we'll move on, his traps are going to be disproportionately large, and his shoulders are going to suck. So, and that's a habit, and the longer you do it incorrectly, the harder it is to learn it the right way, because your that's going to be muscle memory. So you're just going to kind of get yourself into, like, a bad position if you just hire somebody who really doesn't care and is just there for a paycheck. So you really want to pay attention to somebody that is really going to help with form, because form is so important. It makes such a difference. Such a difference.
And all you have to do is, when you walk into a gym, look around and see all the people that are throwing weights up and down and everything else. And watch, because when you come back in 5-6 weeks, those same people will be using the same weight, throwing it the same way, and they don't look any different.
No, they're going to look the same for, like, year after year after year.
Or what happens a lot of times, you won't see them after 4 or 5 months, because they got hurt. And they're incapacitated for a couple months, healing up or having a surgery because they didn't do it properly.
Absolutely. Also, I want to point out that if, whether you decide to venture with the workouts on your own, learning how to work out, or even with a trainer, I think it's so important to know exactly, like, what muscle group every exercise is supposed to hit. Because then, too, like you said, like when you walk in the gym and you look around, you're going to be able to spot the person that doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. And because, whether it's, some people even like as crazy as this sounds, they use their back to do bicep curls, like because they're just, trying to lift the weight up and they're using like the total wrong weight. But I think it's, you should be making sure, especially if you hire a trainer, to make sure you know what you're supposed to be feeling. And that just kind of goes along with picking their brain and making sure you get educated.
And to put you in the proper position to perform the exercise correctly, because that's how you'll make the most progress and be able to succeed at what your goals are, what you're hoping to accomplish.
Yes.
So once again, what we're trying to get across to you is a trainer is a great thing to have if it measures well and it fits what you need.
Yes. And I'm going to kind of switch gears too, because I think a whole different group now that isn't, like we were talking about it earlier, is like the online trainer. And that kind of has opened up just like crazy, what's like smorgasbord of different types of, coaches. And also it's like a shit show. It's like the wild, wild west kind of out there with online trainers. And there's nothing wrong with doing online too. Like if let's just say you want to you want someone to guide you, but you don't want someone in person, that's a great option. They'll write a workout plan, and then you can kind of execute it yourself.
Just like some of the people we work with do not come to see us in person.
Mm-hmm.
We work with them online, but they send us pictures every week.
Yeah.
With their progression. They have a set diet that we had set up for them that they're following.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, one of our clients, just to make sure he's adhering to everything that we're asking him to do, he's taking a picture of every meal he has so that we get him rolling again, because he kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. And he really wants to get back at it. So once again, we're not putting down online trainers because there's some benefit there.
Yeah.
But you better make sure you know what you're doing before you just follow something somebody sends to you.
Absolutely. And I think you have to do your research a little bit more so when you do an online trainer, just because I know a lot of people, I've seen this time and time again, unfortunately, they, might have competed in about one bodybuilding show, and then all of a sudden they think that they're a trainer and they're going to, train everybody, and they're a diet expert and they're a workout expert and they're none of the above. And what they basically do is they set up a just very generic diet plan, very generic workout plan, and they send it to everybody, and you're just one of many. And sometimes they're a little hard to spot up front. Usually once you sign up with them, though, you kind of quickly realize that, the communication just isn't there, and you start to talk to someone else that used them, and you're like, wait a second, why is our thing the same? But I would say I would definitely look to see, a lot of times those online trainers will tag their clients, because from a marketing, that's another thing too I want to point out before I say what I was going to say, is if they have a lot of marketing behind them and they're very flashy and they're very sensationalizing like this, or like there's this guy on, oh my God, YouTube, he drives me crazy because he has like a picture of a pizza and he's like, I eat carbs. And he's like, like blah, blah, blah. And like, you think you don't have, like, you can't eat carbs? I eat this all the time and I'm ripped. And I'm like, well, also you're 23 and you're a guy and God only knows what else, like if you're taking something else that's making you lean. And so those type of people, and they tend, my rule of thumb, and I'm sure that there's some exception to this where somebody, is really good at marketing and good at nutrition coaching at the same time. But usually if they have a lot of marketing behind them, they're usually not that good of a trainer. And because they're not spending their time, they're spending their time making like YouTube and Instagram videos and not with their clients. And usually, like the best trainers are the ones that are spread word of mouth because, like our best advertisements are clients that are in good shape,
Right.
or talk, or not even in, they don't even have to be in great shape. They're just in a health, like they're healthy and they're talking about how good they feel. That does way better than some, Instagram reel. But the people that don't have the good results need those Instagram reels to advertise.
Right. And one of the things I know that we really try to do, and once again, as I've mentioned before, I'm a retired school teacher and I still coach football. I'm a teacher and I try to teach people how to work out and how to diet. And I shouldn't even say diet, but how to eat
Yeah.
to be healthy and to lose body fat and put on lean muscle. Because I go back to something we talked about before. The more lean muscle you have, the healthier you are, the more calories you burn, and you don't get fat.
Mm-hmm.
And these are all things that are important that your trainer should be going over with you.
Oh, absolutely. And also, this just like popped in my head too. Like, we're talking about mostly like exercise training, like working out trainers and diet trainers. There's also, I should say actually, like, I prefer the word coaches because I think that that kind of embodies way more people because there's also like, I don't even know what I want to say, but like what Mike Fursey is, like a wellness coach that also goes above and beyond, like gets into anti-aging, gets into more stuff than just diet and lifting and things like that, that go like a step beyond that. So like there's so many different things that you can get a coach for too. It's not just lifting and eating. But I think that that's everybody's kind of first go to. And I think that that should be everybody's first go to before, because also you can't really hire somebody to start diving into like if you're eating like shit and you're not working out, no anti-aging person's going to help you. Like you're going to age prematurely.
You're wasting your money.
Yes.
Matter of fact, I just read something where walking briskly for 5 minutes could help prevent Alzheimer's in elderly people.
Oh, I believe that.
So once again, they're finding out more and more things that are going to help you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. So with that, I hope we kind of gave you guys a like like what is it called, well-rounded thing of questions to have in your arsenal when you go, if you do decide to hire a trainer, because I think it's so important to really take the time, because this is, working out is something that nobody really loves to do. I mean, you do, I know you do, whatever, but most people don't love to do. So you want to make it as like, put all the odds in your favor that you're going to want to go. So if you're going to go, if you're working out.
But you know what, too, Heather? I think if you're seeing success in the mirror and on the scale and just the way people look at you different, I think that's helped self-motivate.
Oh, I absolutely, I agree with you on that. I'm just saying, like, it's not something that, like, it's, most people would prefer to, like, do something, maybe go out and drink with your friends or, sit and watch TV, like something like that that's easier, as opposed to, which I will say, I want to point out this one thing. The reason why it is so hard to work out for most people is because your brain, you're going to put yourself into a stressful situation. You're putting your body under stress. Your brain is wired to keep you away from things that are going to stress your body out. So it tries to keep you alive. That's why, if you notice, when it comes time around, like, oh, I got to go to the gym, you'll start thinking about all your excuses. All of a sudden, oh, my knee's kind of bothering me. Oh, I don't know, I'm kind of tired. So keep that in mind the next time your brain starts to go through that. It's just your brain trying to like play tricks on you. So it's, your knee really doesn't hurt that bad. You're not really that tired. Like, just work through it and go. But what I'm saying is, with that said, you don't want to put any more obstacles in front of you that any more than you need, or that you have already, I should say. and hiring a trainer that you actually like, that is upbeat, that you really vibe with, that is encouraging, educational, teaches you stuff, will make it that much easier to go to the gym. That was my point.
Yeah, very good. And one thing I may suggest to you also, before you sign a long-term contract with somebody, ask them if you could hire them for a week or two.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Try it out to see if you guys fit and you're getting out of it what you'd like to.
Yeah, because if a trainer tells you, no, you can't just hire me for a week, I would not hire them at all, because anybody should be able to, like, let you test their services out.
Right, to see how it is.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you want somebody to help push you, but it's more to guide you.
Yes.
Where I've seen some trainers just stand there screaming and yelling, blah, blah, blah. Now, if I'm coaching football and we're trying to get a drill done, yes. But when I'm teaching somebody weight training, I'm going to encourage you, but I'm not going to be screaming at the top of my lungs. Now, if we were powerlifting,
Yeah, different.
that's a different thing. But keep all that in mind when you're looking to see who you'd like to work with you, be it a guy or a gal.
Mm-hmm. I think that's good advice. Okay, well, with that, guys, we're going to call it a day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, any questions that you want us to answer, feel free to email us at info@thealphamalepodcast.com and just put questions in the subject.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed.
We'll see you later, guys.